Hey guys, welcome to On the Block. Second episode of what year is this? Season 6, I think. Right?
7.
Episode 2 of the season. Raptors looking great so far. They've surprised a lot of people, including our colleague Lamar Grant. I saw him and he couldn't stop speaking positively about the team. Raving. I said he went on a positive rant talking about the Toronto Raptors, and Igor didn't believe a word that I said. But we'll get him on the podcast next time. He couldn't make it today. But like I said, we'll start with the Raptors, and they've really impressed us so far. Even me, like we had them 4th, 5th. I think that we pretty much picked them.
Yeah, run that mid-table Eastern Conference.
And they've gotten off. They're still perfect at home. They went to the Lakers at LA, had that back-to-back at the Staples Center. Had an impressive win against the Lakers. Yeah. As Lamar said, the refs tried to help the Lakers and they couldn't. Nick Nurse got the challenge. And he got his first win of the season. Next day they had Kawhi without, I don't think, Ibaka and Lowry Rowe, weren't they?
Yeah, they were on that whole road trip, which is why everyone thought it might be a disaster. It was very impressive. They literally held the Clippers pretty much in check, and then
for 3 quarters or so.
They kind of near the end of it, they kind of faded out in the 4th quarter. They ran out of gas. But you know what? Considering, I gave Nick Nurse a lot of. Maybe not enough credit last year, because I thought, Kawhi is a big factor. But I really did like what he did during the road trip, because if you look at the numbers that defense held LeBron, Damian Lillard, and Kawhi, they were held, I think, to like 26% shooting, and again, very, very low numbers. I think Damian Lillard didn't reach 10 points, which is I think the first time he hadn't done that in 3 or 4 seasons. He had some club record going for the amount of points, and they held him in check really, really well. That box and one was going in a lot of situations, and that so-called janky defense has been working in a lot of situations. I mean, it helps that a lot of guys, I don't know if you consider overachieving or at least playing to what many people thought they were. I think personally, guys like Terrence Davis have come out of nowhere. He's done a really, really solid job off the bench. One of your boys. Chris, don't call me Bobby Boucher. He's actually been I was really impressed with him in that Lakers Clippers. He has
the block on LeBron, the block on Davis, on Dwight.
On Montrezl Harrell too. That was a huge block in the second. He was playing a little bit out of his mind. So all in all, they've been solid, and you can't really say much in terms of Pascal and OG. OG's been a really good solid. He's definitely making large strides as well. Sort of reminding me, not to the same extent, but a little bit like Pascal had done last year. A little bit, not to that level, but close to. And Pascal's been a guy on a mission for the most part. He was in early MVP discussions, which there's in that discussion is Pascal a lot better than DeMar ever was on the Raptors, and it's early in the year, but I never really once saw DeMar in any MVP conversations. So I really like what Pascal does. And again, if you're talking overall player, he's really better than DeMar defensively. Yeah. So he's definitely a lot of people thought with him being the number 1 option, he'd struggle. It hasn't really been the case. He's been solid. But one guy that I have been disappointed with, and we've talked about it earlier when we were discussing the show, Mark for what he's being paid, and I give the man some leeway because he had a long year with Spain, the summer, and so forth. He's old. He's an older guy. He's about 35 now. He's getting paid a lot of money, and I don't know. He does other things, which again I get into with other people outside the podcast, but he's just not doing enough offensively. Because again, I'm expecting a guy at least to get double digits every game. I don't think that's that tough.
I don't think averaging 10 and 10 is asking too much.
Yeah, 5 points, 7 points, 2 points, 3 points. For a guy getting that kind of money, you need something, especially when the East isn't really center driven. Where most nights he's one of the biggest guys out there. He should be getting easy buckets for a lot of these. I don't know if it's Nurse that they're just not running any offense through him for the most part. He had that game where they blew out Charlotte. He had nearly had a triple-double, assist totals and so forth. So he does do some other things, but at that kind of money, I want a little bit more offensive juice. Not a ton because he's of his age, but something that 10 and 10 at least, or I think he was a 15, 17, and 10 guy.
He's getting a lot of assists. He's probably averaging close to 5, right? But it just bothers me because a lot of times he'll get the ball in the perimeter, and you don't even have to guard him because it's like he's playing hot potato. He has the ball in his hand and he's waiting for people to cut. His man sagging off him at least 5-6 feet, and he's a good enough 3-point shooter that you want to take the shot.
And he looks lethargic with his movement out there. He looks slow.
He always has.
But at least he like would be a little bit more dominant than he was. And then you gotta look at it. You would think that with two primary scoring, well, again, Lowry was one, and Ibaka was coming off the bench. You would think he would get more ability to get more points, but it really hasn't been him on this last 5-6 games. It's been guys like Davis, guys like Boucher, Hollis Jefferson did a really good job. Make sure you don't touch his head or take a
The man snapped.
That again, hopefully that was all like fun and games, but all in all, like he did a really good job on Kawhi. So like certain guys are getting into those situations. Still, no, they got to do an APB out for Stanley Johnson. Because he hasn't appeared anywhere.
That's what I was gonna say.
So he either I don't know what the situation is there. Either he's not working hard enough, or what.
His shot still looks terrible. The few times that he's getting.
So he's been. You might as well put an APB out on that guy because he hasn't done much.
Matt Thomas looks good too, right? Like he's not, the times that he's been in there, like the guy looks like he's not missing, like a prime Jason Caporto out there.
You know what? Truthfully, that's exactly what it looks like. Because he's deficient on D because he looks lost out there half the time.
But he puts in an effort at least,
He puts in an effort, but like considering the fact that like two guys are missing and they're still not giving Johnson much minutes at all,
that's saying a lot. Terrence Davis, he's buried on the depth chart. I don't know who's below him, to be honest. O'Shea Brissett is like the only guy you can think of, right?
Malcolm Miller, maybe.
Malcolm Miller, right? Like
and also Patrick McCall's there too, so that would have been another one.
So we got McCaw, Kyle, and Serge all out, right?
Yeah. So and then Norm is like hot. Like Norm gets 18 one day, 0 the next. He's not very consistent, but when he's on, obviously he's been a big help. And again, that road trip, considering what the situation was, I think they finished 3-2. They lost to Dallas. They lost to the Clippers. Considering what the guys they had out, that could have been an abysmal 0-for-5, and no one could have really blamed them.
It was a great performance.
They did a pretty good job with 5 tough situations in those situations. So now I know they're starting to get a little bit lighter at home, and like I said, it's a team that they're better than I thought they were going to be, mostly because guys like Davies have come out of nowhere, and Siakam's
been consistent.
Are they a team that I can see going deep in the playoffs? That's obviously more of that situation because again the playoffs are a different animal. But Fred's been doing great too. Like they're talking on all-star levels at Fred.
I wanted to talk about Fred because from day one I've always said he reminded me of like a Kyle Light, but a better version, a more efficient version. And just him handling the ball, he does a good job taking the load off Siakam too. Because sometimes Siakam will dribble the ball and he's like, oh, he's a great ball handler. Like he's a good enough ball handler, he can get around guys that are sloths that are defending him. But if he's like kind of running your offense all the time, we've all seen him get stripped a good amount of times. So it's good that Fred's kind of provided some stability there. Terrence Davis, I guess, is the third point guard, really a shooting guard, but they let him handle the ball. And even Fred, like we saw in the finals last year, his defense has been incredible. He's getting low on guys, he's defending, he's shooting the shit over the ball, he's pulling up from like 30 plus feet.
Yeah.
Right? Like just all of a sudden you got to guard the guy as soon as he crosses half court, he's pulling up from everywhere. Terrence Davis, like we said, can't say enough good things about him on both sides of the floor for a rookie, undrafted guy. And Hollis Jefferson, I want too, right? Like remember we saw the billboards when he got here. He's
up the elevators,
right?
Come on, you know you want to do it.
I forgot about him. I say shout out to our man Slim Dog, let's go. But he looks good, man. And like for a guy like they said his wingspan's like 7'2" or something. That makes sense.
He needs to put on a little weight, no doubt. But
for
like,
sure. But I think that he's been trying for a while.
He can shoot the ball. He's like those were some impressive defensive displays.
Whenever he's come in, he gets at least 20 minutes. He's a lock for 10 and 10. And then what more can you ask for, right? Your soul can't do that for you right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's 10 and 10 for a guy that realistically, he was G League MVP at one point.
And Defensive Player of the Year, right?
So
and
now we're seeing ball.
That. Yeah.
He just needs to get acclimated. He needs minutes, and this gave him the opportunity. Now, when Serge comes back, we'll see how that plays out.
Well, hopefully, at least they can rest Mark a little bit. Start him, let him,
yeah,
and then still incorporate these young guys because you don't want them banished on the bench because you're going to need them in case all these guys we've seen a lot of injuries on this team. And the good thing is, there's a lot of guys that can come in and play.
And all in all, like depending on the situation, it might be one of those situations where they may showcase Serge for a trade because he's unrestricted, and also shows you that he signed for another year, which I wasn't very thrilled about. But you can definitely see life without Kyle wouldn't be that terrible,
right?
Because like I said, I enjoy watching Fred. Like I've had this debate with a lot of people that I legitimately said to people that you give Fred Kyle's minutes and there wouldn't be a huge drop off.
I don't know if there would be a drop off.
And that's what I'm telling you. Like Kyle, does his thing. I'm not a huge fan of Kyle. I think I made that known on the podcast, but Like Fred's a good player, and to me, a lot of his aspects are better than Lowry in certain situations. I think he's a better shooter, in my opinion.
Yep. Better going to the rim, finishing.
Yeah, like, I saw those 34. I'm like, what the hell's Fred thinking here? Boom in the bucket. So when he's confident, he's healthy. The thing with Fred is that he's again always injured at certain points where it looks like he's about to break out, and then boom, a thumb, a head injury, a leg injury, whatever it might be. But for an undrafted guy, very, very impressive.
Everybody's
I can't again at 10-4. I can't say much about the team. I thought they would be a solid team, but not a great team. But they're definitely opening some eyes for sure.
And some favorable games coming. I know they're in Atlanta tonight. Should be a win. I think it's going to be a close game. It's a road game. Should still come out with a win. Monday we have Philly here. Should be a good game.
Yeah.
And then we have the Knicks on Wednesday, which by all accounts should be a win because they're a train wreck of a team.
But the Philly game will be a good test. A good test to see where they fall in that. And again, Boston's been doing well as well, but that Philly game without Kawhi, because again they usually do dominate Philly at home. That'll be a test for them because I think Serge Ibaka will be back for that game, so that should be a bit of a boost for them. But how they deal with Embiid and Simmons looks like he's at least shooting the ball a little bit better. Yeah, that'll be the test for them right at home. If they can win that game, that'll definitely have some spirits up. So I guess we'll see how that plays out on Monday.
We'll go through the top 6 real quick. So Milwaukee's still in first, 12-3. And this is before last night's games. Boston 11-4 now. They just lost to Denver. Miami Heat. I know that I think Lamar had them. I had them in the playoffs. I didn't have them as high. I think I had them 6 or 7.
Yeah,
but they look good, and like they're another team like the Raptors. They pull guys off the street, undrafted guys. That guy Robinson that had like 9 threes a few games ago.
Yeah,
none.
Yeah.
Who's starting at for them and just killing it. Jimmy Butler is not shooting too well getting to the line, but like Bam, who we talked about just before the show, right? Like they have so many guys that you could roll out there and just get the job done. Myers Leonard.
Yeah,
Kelly Olynyk.
Tyler Hero hasn't been like some were saying he's been pretty good, but he hasn't been at levels that they thought. But overall, they just have a lot of depth, and then they've been grinding out games.
They still play defense.
Yeah, Bam's been really good. All in all, again, they're just playing really solid basketball. And like I said, will they finish that high up? I don't know. But I mean, they could potentially still around that.
I think they're going to stay around the top 4 or 5.
Realistically, like from 6 to 4 to 4 and 5 wasn't that much of a drop off in my things anyway. So it wouldn't be a surprise if they got a little higher up than I thought they would be. But
I think Philly started off something like 9-1 or 10-2, and right now they're at 10-5. They were 9-5 before that Spurs win yesterday.
Yeah.
So and Philly, like they've had some injuries too, but they haven't looked great. They look really good on defense, like we thought they would. But that offense is going to take a while to get going. They'll be better in the playoffs. Ben Simmons still looks, to me, doesn't look like he's really improved much at all. He took a 3 and hit it last game, but that's his first career 3-point.
Yeah, that's one more than last time.
Indiana started off slow, but they've kind of picked it up too. Oladipo is probably coming back around December, so we'll see how that looks.
I mean, Brogdon's been playing well, but now he's out injured, so they've sort of diminished a little bit.
Sabonis has been really good.
And they were thinking about trading him, so that's another team that, again, should be right around that 3 to 6 mark. And again, I think the first 6 teams are pretty much a lock.
That's what I was going to say.
And the rest of them are going to be fighting it off for scraps. Brooklyn, again, they've been better without Kyrie again. It isn't the first
surprise of no one.
Yeah, and that's the crazy element of it is that, even them, like they seem to come together without Kyrie there, and the same thing that Boston did a couple years ago. And I don't know his attitude or the more ball movement. Like it's going to be interesting when Durant does come back and see how that works. I'm starting to think that might not work well. I think Durant's a guy that probably wants the ball in his hands a lot. Kyrie's going to want it. I know they're buddies, but I don't know. That seemingly, I'm going to look forward to that, seeing that next year.
I think those 2 guys will be okay. The rest of the team.
But one thing I don't like, I don't know if you like the whole. I like the whole court situation they have going in Brooklyn. But when they're wearing those specific jerseys that are matching the court, man, that's terrible on the eyes. Yeah. Like it's like you're trying to like watch the game and you can't even tell where the ball is because it all blends in. It's kind of like watching hockey when they used to have those glowing pucks. Yeah, where you're like what the hell is going on? Like you're just tripping off of it, and like I don't do any drugs, but if you're watching the game high, like,
you might be on something.
You might be like problematic because you probably be thinking you're in another world. But they've been a bit of a disappointment. I can't see what they're not 500.
6-8 before yesterday.
That's
yeah.
not.
So 7-8.
That's not great. All in all, I mean, like
Jared Allen looks really good.
It's a crapshoot all over the place. Yeah, Dinwiddie's had a couple games. So I mean, they've been okay, but I thought they would be a bit better. But I mean,
I think we talked about this. You have the playoff list there. Is my name? Is that just yours?
This is mine right here.
Because I think that I took Brooklyn somewhere between 6 and 7.
I have Atlanta and 8. I have them at 7. Yeah.
Yeah, so we probably had them around the same. And I remember saying pretty much that it's tough because they lost D'Angelo to the Warriors in free agency or whatever, or the trade, whatever you want to call it. But it was just, that's a team almost like the Raptors. They have so many good bench and role players that when you bring in a guy like Kyrie that's just so ball dominant, everybody else is just kind of standing there waiting for the ball to come to them. And that's why I thought that they might take a step back, still make the playoffs, because I think they finished 5th or 6th last year.
Yeah, 6th.
But it's just a stylistic change because they're having to kind of adjust everything to cater to Kyrie, who's just such a ball dominant guy. And we're seeing that now, and now when he's out, we're seeing more ball movement. They won yesterday by 25 or something at home. And like Kyrie's played well. He had a 50 that one game or whatever it was, and they've won some games. But he was also a liability on defense too.
I mean, all in all, it's those situations where, I mean, Russell fit in well last year because I mean he was a big ball dominant, but he was a good shooter.
He could pull up. Yeah.
He could pull up. So I mean, it goes to show you that like our team's better off without Kyrie, and you don't want to say that for a guy that realistically is probably like he's like if you watch the guy dribble like talent wise, he's an amazing player. But he's starting to get to me like Russell Westbrook, where he's
Anthony.
Yeah, so he's one of those situations where like he's a great star to watch, but he doesn't make teams better. Yeah. So yeah, that's it's gonna be an interesting situation to see how that plays out. But like I said, they're pretty much right where we thought they were gonna be. I thought they'd be a bit better record wise because I thought the East would be a bit stronger. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we'll see how that plays out. And then the rest of the East is pretty much a crapshoot.
That's what I was gonna say. So right now, 7 and 8, Nets and Magic. I think Magic should still make the playoffs just based on their defense. I know that Gordon went out, Vucevic went out, but Isaacs looked pretty good. Not a great scorer, but he plays defense, hits some threes, does a bit of everything. Bulls we had in there sitting at 5 and 10 right now. Like I think it's coaching and a bit of.
Well, I mean, a lot of they lost Otto Porter early on in the year.
Or he's still out.
He's still out. He's been out for another 2 weeks at least. I haven't really. I don't think Markin has been that great.
He's had a down season.
The rotation. He's killing my fantasy team too. Well, all in all, like again, the rotation at point guard. There's no stability there. One day it's done.
Kobe White and also Satoransky.
Yeah, Satoransky. Yeah. There's nothing really there. And
Zach LaVine hijacking the offense.
Yeah, right? Like it's just like that. It's not really flowing all that well. I thought they'd be a better team, but same thing with Atlanta. But like we mentioned, Atlanta lost John Collins. And that's a big hit. Or I think they would be much better. All in all, like it's the last place team in the East was going to be a really weak opposition for whoever like dominates. So it's to me right now. Let's say if Milwaukee would have faced any of those teams,
it's a sweep.
Yeah, it's a sweep. So that's rough when you kind of think that any of those teams will take a game off of anybody. But
no, but even Charlotte, we thought was a team that was going to win maybe 10 or 15 games. They're 6 and 9. They've been competitive almost every game. Washington, all the guys they've
rookies have been pretty good.
Wizards look terrible, but they still win some games. They're competitive.
Yeah.
Atlanta, like we said, we expect them to get better, but Collins has been out. That's 20 and 10 out of the lineup.
That's
the Cleveland
show.
Is it Beeline that's coaching from Michigan University last year? He's done a great job with them. I feel like last year and ever since LeBron left, like so much you don't have a star, you don't have a good coach.
Yeah.
They haven't even drafted well, but at least they're being coached well. Last night they got killed in Dallas, but they've been competitive in almost every game.
Yeah, I mean like guys like Sexton can score, do some things. I think
Tristan's had a bounce back.
Yeah, Kevin's been already.
Kevin's been okay.
Yeah, but like all in all, they're not. They won't make the playoffs, but like
they'll be competitive.
And those teams are those situations where. What do? You either you try your hardest, you're not tanking, and then you go for the draft picks. But I don't know. Again, it doesn't really because of the weighted system. It doesn't really tell you to actually have a competitive team. But I don't. That Cleveland team is. I mean, they're not. To me, they're not watchable. But
they're tough to watch. Detroit at 5 and 10, they look terrible.
Bit of a surprise there. I mean, Blake came back a little late. He's been injured on and off. Tough on Dwayne. I'm a big Dwayne guy. But they're another team that's another one that's all in transition. Blake might be gone.
I read a rumor that Drummond might go to Charlotte if they're going to be sellers because he's a free agent at the end of the year. You don't want to pay him.
Yeah, a lot of those situations, like it's a team that's definitely in transition. And I mean, I'm sure they pretty much do that anyways. I mean, Casey's doing the best he can. But I mean, guys like Reggie Jackson, like.
Yeah, it's not Derrick Rose. Yeah. Derrick Rose has done okay.
Rose has been okay when he's on the floor.
Luke Kennard helped with my fantasy team. He's been pretty good. Like he's kind of in last year of his rookie deal, anyways. And then New York Knicks. We don't want to spend any time talking about them. We saw their roster when it came in. I think Lamar thought that they were going to be a decent team.
I thought they would be a decent team too, to be honest. Because I thought like
Morris, Randall.
But the reality is they're not playing certain guys like Robinson. I thought was going to get heavy minutes.
Coming off the bench.
He's getting less minutes than Bobby Portis. So
they paid all
I
those
don't know
guys
if
too,
I
right?
don't know if Fizdale is actually trying to get fired or what he's doing
Well,
over
he's
there.
probably being told to play the guys that have been paid too, right? So you have Portis,
Yeah.
Randall, Morris, and
But you can't play Morris 35 minutes a game. That's insane.
well, Boston
he's
did
playing-
it for a while
he's
last
playing,
year.
like-
He's probably the best out of all four of those guys, at least on offense.
Like,
right?
and then they're asking. I think they were gonna do a specific thing of like. I mean, he's giving Nikita some time, but that's only because Alfred Payton got injured only.
So you have Ntilikina, Alfred Payton, Dennis Smith Jr.,
Yeah,
and we're missing one other point guard too that I can't. Oh, RJ.
Yeah.
RJ's there too, right?
Yeah.
So and then I think that there's also another guy they're throwing in. There's just not enough minutes for all those guys.
Right, but again,
They
you
need
got
to
like,
find out who's good.
like Robinson was the guy that was really good for them at the end of the year. I thought he would be playing heavy minutes.
He does foul a lot,
but he barely gets on there.
Yeah.
Heck, I think he was top 15 and 20 in
Yeah.
fantasy.
Yeah.
He's barely in the top 100. Like just because he's not getting much minutes, and when Bobby's taking minutes off of him, and who's the other guy that always be on the Bulls and the bald guy, Taj Gibson.
He's starting for them too, yeah.
Yeah, so he's another guy.
Those are playoff moves. They wanted to make at least get an 8 seed or something, right? They bring in all these guys that play the same position.
Yeah, like that's just not.
All right, enough on New York. Sorry, guys. Dolan, we don't want to.
No,
they're gonna have to change ownership, bro.
Now
Nothing's
it's
gonna
gonna half an
happen.
hour on Dolan.
Move on to the West. I want to see a bit of a smirk on your face because the Lakers are sitting in first place. Now, Lamar Grant seems to think it's an easy schedule so far. That's very home friendly, and he's not wrong. They did go to Dallas, and that was actually a good game a few weeks ago when I think it was LeBron or Danny Green hit a 3 to go to overtime and ended up pulling that game out.
Mm-hmm.
Their only losses have been to the Clippers and the Raptors, right? And both those are both legit finals contenders, right? At least to make the finals for both of those teams. What surprised you with the Lakers so far? Dwight Howard's been pretty good. Anything?
I mean, Dwight. Yeah, that Dwight. I mean, yeah, he's not a Dwight from back in the day, but that's been a good little renaissance.
Yeah.
He's been an improvement. He's been a useful player. I think it's a situation where I'm not gonna say that LeBron's been getting a little bit more like the whole triple double thing is something that's not accustomed the way that he's been doing it lately, but
he's handling the point.
He's handling the point a little more. Again, there's shooters. The team is better constructed, and then obviously Anthony Davis is a big factor in that as well.
They're the best defense in the league, I think.
But yeah, that's a situation where again these guys are meshing really well with it. He's got shooters. It's more of a team that again is not as LeBron centric, but he's able to facilitate.
His players.
I think he's got. I think I think LeBron did a whole an Odell Beckham Jr. Yesterday reaching over and grabbing, and then the Caldwell pull for the 3. It just looks like
they're having fun.
They're having fun. They're enjoying themselves, and again, just a better constructed team. Did I think they were going to be 11-2 to start? I didn't think that.
Same. Like I think I picked them to finish second or third. And
I had 4th. Lamar was giving me an ovation.
Yeah, he was very proud of you.
Oh, he was very proud of me. I thought they would take some time to gel, and again, you have to think that Anthony's already starting to
get injured, right? He's already complaining about his shoulder.
Like eventually he'll rest some games, then they'll drop some games. But like again, they'll be a top 4 team, and then it goes from there. I'm a little surprised at some of the other things that have been going on. I think Phoenix is a lot better than I thought they would be, especially with Ayton, I guess gone for 25 games for his drug infraction. So
Baines has been good, like you talked about.
Baines has been good helping the fantasy team. All in all, like
they have basketball players.
They have basketball players. They've been working well as a unit. Will that continue on? I mean, there's been some disappointments, and I'm actually really happy with what Dallas is doing. I think that's a team on the come up. That they'll be a tough out, but all in all, like it's one of those situations where the Lakers being at first doesn't completely surprise me, but it does a little bit because I thought there'd be some more things meshing. Yeah. Like the Clippers have had, I think they've lost 5 games. A lot of those
games. I want to say they're at like 10-5 or 11-5 now. I remember at one point I think they were 7-5. They won a few games. They just beat Houston yesterday. I don't know if you saw. It was a good game yesterday.
I think they've lost. Well, as I saw it last week, they lost every game that Kawhi didn't play. Which some of the Raptors can't say that happened to them last year.
And it's funny because the Clippers have depth too, right? It's not like the Clippers are a deep team.
It does, but a lot of I find that a lot of those guys this year aren't. I think Lou's doing all right. I think Patrick Beverly has been a little bit worse in my opinion compared to what he's used to.
Patrick Patterson was starting for them. Now he's been banished. Finally, it took them 10 games to realize he's not.
Well, now that Paul George is back and everything along those lines too, right? But I think Patrick, he started the Raptors game in a couple of threes. Having a patch. But yeah, those guys shouldn't. And again, it's something that Doc likes to have. I think Montrezl Harrell should start. Zubac is another guy that's all over the place. Yep. His lineups aren't all I don't know why Harrell is not starting any Harrell. Even when I watch him,
they want Lou and him to do that pick and roll off the bench.
And then that's one of those situations where Yeah, I understand that, but they could use like Harold was a big difference when he got in there in the Raptors game because he brings a lot of energy and a lot of defensive prowess. Um, and then I think Shaman got injured too, so they're missing a couple guys. And now that Paul George is back, and they're gonna gel a little bit, but to me, they're still the favorites to probably take it. Even though like again, whatever Lakers, even like, truthfully, like the Lakers having home court advantage on the Clippers, there's no home court advantage anyway, so it doesn't
Well,
matter.
no, they'll be Lakers fans. But the thing that I was,
Well,
I
they'll
don't
be
know.
Lakers fans either way, right? So
Yeah, but there'll be a lot more because you'll have Clippers season ticket holders, right, in those games.
yeah, I wonder how that would work.
Yeah,
Is it the same arena, right?
No, so whoever's the home team has the tickets, right? Like,
yeah, that'd be interesting.
But there's still gonna be Lakers fans there, obviously. But what I was just kind of hoping, because what it does look like, we'll go through the playoffs, the standings right now. So you have Lakers, Denver, Houston, and the Clippers, and then Dallas, Jazz, T-Wolves, who have been a surprise, and then also Phoenix at 7-7 right now.
Yeah, I mean.
After that, we have Sacramento, New Orleans, who's been okay considering Ben Simon's out. They kind of picked it up recently. Memphis, OKC, Spurs, Portland, who's been a big disappointment. Let's talk about them just for a minute or so.
Well, I mean, the situation with them is that
they signed Carmelo. That's what the situation with them, right?
You know what? I haven't been impressed with CJ's been kind of off a cliff this year. I don't know what's happening there. It looked like he was breaking out at the end of last year. That really hasn't been the case. Dame's had some really rough games. They're definitely missing Nurkic in there, in my opinion, inside.
Well, they're missing Nurkic, and then they let Harkless and Aminu walk.
Yeah, right? So they're missing a lot of depth situations, and you can tell in the game against the Raptors that they're missing a lot of that depth scoring off the bench, where it's even more on Dame's shoulders and CJ, and they haven't been performing all that well. In my opinion, Dame's been okay, but CJ's had a couple games where he's in the low double digits, and like that's not what I'm accustomed to. I'm thinking like CJ should be averaging at least 18 to 20 a game.
No, he should be at 20 plus, yeah.
Yeah, so
especially with Nurkic out, right?
Yeah, and I think that's they're not gelling well with a lot of the situations that they lost a lot of those guys. Team defense isn't doing all that well either.
Hassan Whiteside.
Right? Yeah, well, see, I never like that pickup to begin with.
Well, that's what I mean. When you're playing him instead of Nurkic, you're losing a little bit on both sides.
And right? I think Whiteside's one of those guys that he kind of plays for himself. I've never been a huge fan of. Like he's a good defensive player. I'm not gonna say he's not, but he's not a team guy in my opinion.
Doesn't bring the energy.
Doesn't bring the energy. He's all out there. So I mean, they're again signing Carmelo. You can tell they wanted some secondary scoring. They needed something. Is that gonna work out? I think Carmelo's washed. Yeah. But I mean, how if he comes off the bench and you give him 10 a game, 12 a game, I guess that works out. Yeah.
Simons is a big good for them. The little point guard that they took in the first round last year.
I mean, surprising. We trashed Andrew quite a bit on the show. We got to give him some props because he's been quite good this season. I don't know what's come over him, if it's the switching of positions.
Well, he's shooting less of those DeMar 18-foot jump shots, right? He's taking threes now. He's going to the rim a little bit more.
They've been playing him a little bit more at different positions. I think sometimes he's been playing at shooting guard, sometimes at shooting forward. I think he's more prone to playing at the 2. Again, I don't know if they were playing him mostly at the 2 or at the 3 most games, but he's averaging like 30 points a game the last few games, and that's surprising, and that's why they're and again, can he keep that up? We'll see. And then we gotta give a shout out to Lamar Grant's San Antonio Spurs, who, my God, I think it was 8 or 9 straight. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse.
It's also still early in the season.
It is, but again, it's one of those teams where even Popovich, you can't Lamar as your main. I saw some of the game yesterday.
He's had strong games.
He had some strong games, but again, as the focal point when the West is getting stronger, it's not gonna fly. And they've had a crazy streak of making the playoffs. Same thing as the Red Wings did in hockey. Eventually, that was gonna go at what they're doing right now, and considering how the West is going, they're a little bit lucky that some of the teams like Portland was doing a little bit better and so forth. They'd have a bigger hill to jump, because I think realistically, you get down about 7 or 8 whole games back, you're done already.
Yeah, I think right now they're 3 games back in the playoffs, right? So it's still
Phoenix is 500 and in the last spot, so it's a little bit lucky. But again, I will think that Oklahoma is going to start playing a little bit better. They're going to have to jump on a lot of teams.
I think Oklahoma's probably going to trade some guys going forward too, right? So and the Spurs really, to be honest, they can't get much worse. They've been on the road for a while too. I think that they're going to win some games. They could sneak into 8th, but it's going to be a tough climb. But I guess it's still a decent chance that they make the playoffs. But it's clearly not looking good.
Well, again,
they're not shooting enough threes.
And again, to me, that first seed, whoever it might be, if it's the Lakers, the Clippers, or even Denver,
or Houston, whoever it is.
I mean, we gotta give Houston some props because the Westbrook Harden thing hasn't been too bad. Harden's still getting his, Westbrook not as much.
It's tough because even yesterday, I tweeted out. I haven't used Twitter in a while, but it was the end of the game, and I think the Clippers were up. It was a possession, 1, 2, or 3 points. Harden had the ball with about 15 seconds left on the clock. They trapped him. They sent the guy up at him. Westbrook was wide open. Harden had to kick it out to him at the 3-point line at the corner, at the top of the 3-point line. And he just jacked up a shot. I think they was only like down 1 or 2. They weren't down 3 because at the end everybody's like, "Why are you taking that shot?" He barely he grazed the rim. Clippers get the ball and the game's over. And what year is he in his career? 10.
Yeah, you're 10.
And he's still he's become a worse and worse shooter every year. And that's going to be very easy in the playoffs. We know what Harden has done in the playoffs. Not to say that he's necessarily
been crazy this year too.
He has been. He's been incredible. But in the playoffs, if nobody else is going to hit any shots, you just trap the guy, get it out of his hands.
Well,
let other guys beat you.
I'll take that to the Nick Nurse style of coaching. So a lot of I think Harden's been getting that double early on up the court, and that you can tell is effective. He's not used to that. Like a lot of these guys will start seeing what Nurse is doing and a lot of this box and one stuff, and that'll affect a lot of guys because you saw even with Kawhi, I was very in tune to watch that game. They did, and I was looking for watching the Raptors last year. That is exactly what gave Kawhi a lot of problems when they sent bodies at him, where Kawhi's not the best ball handler in the league, where that would cause a lot of turnovers. And I'm surprised a lot of teams didn't really pick up on a lot of stuff that was being done sometimes. Because Kawhi is a primary ball handler early up the court, and the doubles do cause him a lot of problems. Which it does
anybody. They will to anybody, right?
But it's more turnover prone to a lot of guys that don't
Even yesterday, when I was watching that game, they were sending a lot of double teams at Kawhi, and he had the ball stripped. He tried and split the pick or whatever it was, and whatever. It's not a knock on him because his handle is above average still in his position, but. Anybody in the league, if a double sent at you, the basketball play is to move the ball to the open guy because someone's wide open.
Yeah, so have the other person beat you.
And that's the thing. You need, then that's why you need championship kind of teams need their role players to hit shots. Just like LeBron whenever he's won and whatever. Michael Jordan, Kerr. You need your shooters to hit shots. You need smart, passes going around the perimeter.
Steve Kerr, baby, best 3-pointer.
The all-time 6-point per game. We'll leave that for when Lamar comes back. Dallas, let's spend a little bit on them. Not too much time left, maybe a few more minutes. But Dallas, I guess they look pretty good. Porzingis, what I wanted to say too is first year coming off that ACL, and I wanted to bring up Hayward because last year you were on him a lot, and I think I told you the same thing about Paul George and all these guys that come back from debilitating injuries. Mm-hmm. That first year back is just getting rid of the fear of the injury, getting back into the swing of things, and then that next year's where you take the lead. And we saw that with Hayward before he got hurt again.
Yeah, right? he was definitely better.
He looked a lot better.
But that's also, I'm also thinking that might be the whole Kyrie not being there factor. But I'm
he looked good. You gotta give the guy credit. Whatever games he played, he did good. And I think with Porzingis too, he's averaging maybe 18 and 8 or whatever it's been from what I've kind of just glanced at. He's done a good enough job, and next year I think he'll come back even stronger.
And again, Porzingis was never really a drop off. He was just very injury prone for the last couple of years.
And Doncic.
The crazy thing is how the Knicks booed him. I thought they would at least give him somewhat of a decent reception, but New York people, I'm like,
well, he did ask for a trade pretty much, right?
Well, I think anybody would have asked for a trade there. And then again, they hated him at the beginning, loved him in the middle, and then hated him when he left, right? So I guess it all pans out.
Any teams you're kind of surprised at? T-Wolves, like we said, they're in there. Phoenix, Sacramento's look like they've been taking a step back.
Yeah, a lot of those teams have I think Phoenix with Booker and I thought they were
Rubio.
I didn't think they were cooked without Ayton, but they've been all right. But again, sometimes you catch teams by surprise when you start. The schedules are early, so all in all, I'm still expecting some kind of push. But same thing in the West as it is in the East. That last playoff spot or two are kind of will be a fight. I guess we gotta talk about Golden State.
What's there to say?
It's it's a crazy situation. They shut it down, and who would have thought really? But you know what? They have been able that Pascal kid is pretty good.
Yeah, it looks okay. I have Alec Burks in the best. He's been scoring a little bit for them.
And Draymond, there's rumors about Draymond, but he just signed a contract, so I can't see that going in.
No.
And you would think that he would get better numbers. He's been terrible.
Well, he can't shoot. That's the thing. In the NBA these days, if you can't shoot, you collapse in defense, you're done.
And again, Russell's been injured here and there, but
he was fine when he was playing.
They're literally almost going for last overall, which is insane if you would have thought about it, right?
They're a lock for a top 3 pick, which is scary for the rest of the league when everybody comes back.
They're not a lock, right, because of the lottery system, but yeah.
Well, you would think they're a lock. You would think they're a lock for a top 3 pick.
Yeah, but crazy if you think about that, those situations, how they can legitimately go from being in the finals for years.
What you got to think? You're gonna
that
have.
has to be the biggest collapse ever. Like I don't think I've ever seen anything worse than that.
No.
Well,
They talked about the Spurs when the Spurs.
Cleveland did have those collapses when LeBron left. So yeah, there has been. That.
But the thing with Cleveland is that like Cleveland doesn't have the guys that like on the roster. Golden State still has Curry, Thompson, Draymond,
all injured,
D'Angelo. But those guys next year will be maybe D'Angelo's sent packing, but still you have those 3 core guys. Clay and Steph is good enough. You have Draymond, you have NBA bodies, and you're going to get a top 3 NBA pick.
Yeah.
Maybe next year they come back and everybody's healthy and they're incredible again, which they should be if everybody's healthy, right?
I mean, I think what them is that they're very top heavy, but the issue with them is going to be afterwards. Now again, it will really matter if Curry and Thompson are averaging huge numbers and Draymond and whoever else is there, but their bench is terrible.
And that's why
names all over the place.
Yeah, guys that are G League guys, right?
Glenn Robinson the third.
Yeah, he's starting.
What they really lost even in last year. Like I think one of the reasons, I can say that Thompson got hurt and Durant, whatever. Their depth was not good, and that's what the Raptors really exploited.
Even Looney's been out.
And then they lost. They lost Quinn Cook to LA, and all the guys that you were like Livingston retired. Iguodala is in freaking Memphis, not even playing. All over the place, right? So they lost a lot of the depth pieces.
They don't have one guy on their team from last year, on their active roster that was healthy. Like the last game they played, not one guy that was in.
Draymond played either.
Well, whenever Draymond was out, there's not one guy out of like the 10 or 12
have
guys
back
that
issues in no time.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? When you sell your soul to the devil, that's what happens next year.
That's what it is.
But yeah, I guess that pretty much wraps it up. We're gonna get together in a week or 2 when Lamar comes back. Maybe preview the Christmas games because Christmas coming up.
We gotta
3 weeks away.
We gotta get Lamar Raptors jersey.
Yeah, we do because he's been talking about. I don't want to tease anything too much, but he's been pretty impressed with how the Raptors have played.
I think that Boucher jersey will look good on Lamar.
You know what? He said that's been his favorite guy.
See, there you go.
Because I just saw him an hour or so ago. He goes,
we're in sync.
His face lit up. He said, Joe, he goes, the Canadian kid Boucher, he goes, when he blocked LeBron, the way that he started talking, I haven't seen that joy in his face in a long time.
Of course.
I could just see him watching TV when Boucher blocked LeBron with the biggest smile. And he talks about that foul too when Siakam, remember when LeBron dribbled it down there with the coach's challenge, right? He's been doing that forever.
But here's the thing. But what's he been doing forever? If he gets the call, he's not going to
push off and the refs call, right?
Sure, the refs call. He said. Like, well, what do you want? Like, so if the man gets the call, what's he going to do? He's going to complain he got the call?
No, but
come on.
No, he's not going to complain he's getting the call, but he's getting beneficiary of a lot of calls.
Well, yeah,
and even that
Raptors treatment too. Like James gets beneficiary treatment.
James had some treatment, but I think that those might be the only 2 guys that have such a bias in the league. Because
I've seen a lot of like star guys that are like big time.
I think those 2 guys are by far in the league of their own.
Calls. I mean, who else can I really like? James is really bad because James.
Giannis doesn't even get those kind of calls.
He could. Well, Giannis. Well,
he gets to the line legitimately.
Well, he might not even want to get to the line with those air balls.
Several air balls. Yep.
Yeah, like that. I don't even know if he wants to get there, but I don't know. I think James by far. Like I've seen some James get some really like he kicks out at guys. He looks for the contact.
Even yesterday, he grabs the guy's arm and he pulls it in.
Yeah, he does it all the time. Yeah. He gets away with a lot of that.
But the refs, I don't know. There's 3 refs on the floor.
I mean, Harden by far. If I had to if you had the last couple of years, if you had to go through free throws, he has to have at least 100 more than the next guy.
More than that,
at least. And it was insane. Because again, the usage rate and whatever, like a lot of guys play the same kind of minutes. There's no way he can be getting that many calls. But anyways, we'll get to a different situation there. But I mean. Go Raptors. We'll get Lamar. We'll get his jersey ready.
Get the jersey.
I guarantee you that he probably has a lot of championship gear from last year.
He does. That he's hiding. That he said he bought for his dad. Every single buying it from my dad.
Exactly. So he's definitely one of those situations where he was just hoping what's the connotation? It's like fearing the worst but hoping for the best and staying low key just in case. That's the word.